Welcome to Soul Nutrition, where we discuss the various ways of nourishing our soul. Today's guest is Tam Luke. Tam is a #1 international best-selling author and founder of Women with Vision International, who shares the triumphs, stress, and struggles of balancing her life to help women grow their business. After 20 years as a business entrepreneur, she helps women leverage their message and create the lifestyle they want through her unique book messaging strategies. Check out her book series, Women Who Boss Up: Strategies of Successful Women Who Have Leveled Up in Life, Health, and Business, available now on Amazon.com. Well, Tam, it is such an honor to have you on the show today.
Reina, I'm so blessed to be here with you today. I'm so glad that we got connected.
Me too. Yeah, we've had such a great time conversing with each other. We got to chat, and then I was on your show. Now you're on mine.
Yes.
And it's just been such a pleasure to be with such a woman of God who's really leading other women to become all they've been created to be. Now, tell me, how did you get to this place? I know you, of course, as this incredible, powerful woman of Christ who's out there leading other women and really empowering everyone you come in contact with. But what was your journey? Who was the Tam before she became this amazing woman I know? And what was your journey in the Lord with that?
Well, it's interesting because I've been on this journey for a long time. My parents are entrepreneurs, but here's another thing that I never bring up. My parents were also ministers, and people don't really know that about my life, but my parents were ministers, were very active. I was very active in the church and served in every single capacity you want to believe that I did. I mean, I did everything from getting up, preaching in front of, thousands of people, from being the choir director. I mean, I've been in very active in our church for many years. And then, as I got older, I got disillusioned or distracted, or, how we do, we start doing other things, and we don't have time. And, I've had some ups and downs, but part of the ups and downs really too was during that time, I had no solace either. I had no refuge. I had no place to go back to look for. I had nothing to let my soul rest. There was like a lot of, emptiness for many years. And I also don't tell this story either. When I finally met my husband, the blessing in him was, and we've been together now for almost 8 years, but one of the things that was most attractive about him was he was so active in his church, active with the children's services and stuff like that. And I was ready at that point.
Yeah.
I was ready to come back and settle down and have a church home and be active and things like that. So it's been quite an interesting journey. And that's just on the spiritual side, of just having so many years of unrest. And then finally really feeling like I'm at peace with myself and in my body. Now, at the same time, that always mirrors your life too, right? So if your spiritual life is not in order, then your physical life is not in order. Everything how you do anything is how you do everything. Is just like how it is. Spirit, soul, and body. So physically, I was at unrest. I was going to and fro, as they say in the Bible. You're just not knowing where your place was, trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And, now I teach people about how to deliver their message, because I now believe that you were born with something. God gave you something. It's kind of like that talent, that he gave, that parable about the talent, right? He gave us all something, and it doesn't necessarily look like this box of when I was coming out of high school, going into college, the problem was the only thing I knew was math, science, social studies. You know what I'm saying? And so what do you do when you get in high school? I mean, when you get into college, what do you want to major in? I don't know. English? That's where I got an A in, I guess. I mean,
Right.
I was lost. So when I got to college, I didn't know that there was something that I was really good at. Somebody asked me this when I was young, Pam, what are you really, really good at? And I'd say, with all earnest, I'm good with ideas. That's
Mm.
actually what my talent is. That's the
Yeah.
actual talent,
Yes.
right? Now, what you do with that is I've done a lot with it, but ideas is the actual talent. They come out like water. They come out
Right.
unceasingly. They come out so often that I don't take them for granted. I give them away. And they all, as far as I'm concerned, are $1 million ideas. Like, they're all of them,
Uh-huh.
right?
It's funny because I just went through the Seth Godin alt MBA.
Hmm.
And one of the things he talks about, is solving interesting problems.
Hmm.
And then there was one prompt that we went through, and I think it was like, ideas are cheap as long as you have extras, right?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
you
That's
can give
right.
them away and, be really generous with your ideas as long as they're going to keep flowing like water.
They flow like water. And so
Mm.
the problem with the two-way sword in that is that they flow like water, right? So
Yeah.
then you don't really, like, if you only have one bright idea, like Colonel Sanders had one bright idea. He had a famous recipe for chicken,
Yeah.
right? That was it. That's all he had, and he had to hold on tight. The blessing in that is that you see it through. When you only
Mhm.
have one good idea, then you see it through. With me, I have way too many, so then
Yeah.
you don't take any of them seriously, or another one's coming in 5 minutes. Just wait, right?
Right. Well, that's the wonderful thing about when you, like you do, pour into so many people,
That's right.
is then all of those ideas, I mean, you can't do them all. Unfortunately,
That's
we'd love to live
right.
for you. Um,
That's right.
and so you get to bless other people with, how about this idea and that idea, and really get them going. And then you can see all of your ideas come to life just vicariously through other people.
That's right. That's right. And that's what I love to do. So I help people find their message, right? Find the gift, find the talent that they were born with.
Yeah.
And then I help them to know how to take that message, that one thing, because it all comes around a message that you're trying to bring, whether you're trying to bring self-love or you're trying to bring to the world that everything will be amazing or fine, or whatever your message comes down to be. It usually is shown to you by the struggle that you had to go through. That's how you usually know. So when people come to me and say, oh, I'm a self-love coach, I know that they struggled most of their life with self-love.
Yeah. I
Right.
want to touch on that a little bit. I want to
Mm-hmm.
go back to that time you were feeling of unrest and knowing your place. How does that time where you were really feeling that unrest, but you knew, right, when that opportunity was there, that
Mm-hmm.
that's where you belonged, you wanted to go to that place. How does that play into how you work with women now?
Yeah. So, okay. So somebody was asking me a question. This is going to answer your question a bit, I think. Somebody was asking me a question. Tam, what advice would you give to someone who wanted to start their own business? I said, before I give you this answer that everybody gives, and the answer is just do it, I'm going to give you context to that, because that is not, it is the right answer, but it's not enough of an answer for anyone to do anything, right?
Right.
Because I know this for sure. I've always known just do it. I've always had the energy of just do it. My motto when I was a kid was keep it moving. All my life is just do it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's not the problem. The problem is that if you find yourself trying to do it, yet stuck for whatever the reason is, then what you have to do is figure out what the stuck is
Mm.
and work on it and work on yourself. And usually it comes about as, okay, I don't know why I can't just do it. I don't know why it's not working. I don't know why I can't move forward. And it's usually something that was in your past that you has unresolved, some kind of parent thing that's unresolved, from when you were 3 or 4 or 6 or 7 or 13 or whatever, right?
Uh-huh.
And there's something that you're trying to rectify and you don't know it. You don't know it. You just keep on trying to solve it from
Mm-hmm.
usually at 3 or 4 years old. That's
Right.
so
And the pattern
solving.
just keeps
It
repeating.
just keeps on repeating. So this is how And so many years of coaching, many things working on myself, many years of stuckness, all of it to finally realize, oh my goodness, we're all the same. So I work with people all the same because I know that there's some stuckness going on. So they
Mhm.
can't just do it until they resolve what they're trying to figure out what they're trying to resolve. And what they're trying to resolve is usually their message. So what I'll do is I'll do a 1 hour, maybe between 1 and 2 hours. It doesn't take me very long because I know what I'm looking for and what to ask. But I'll get to the thing that
Yeah.
they are trying to do. And how I know it's it is that keeps coming up in all of their stories, and they
Yeah.
don't recognize it because they're in it.
Mm.
So I'll say it back to them, and we finally get to, this is what your deal is. You are trying to not have women to be so, like I have one client, you're really trying to get your mother to rest. You're really trying to get women to rest. You're really trying to get women to take care of themselves. This is why you're
Mm.
doing what you're doing. It's showing up as this kind of business, but you already told me you were feeling like your mom was not there for you and abandoned you, and you had to do all this stuff all these years, and that's what you're trying to reconcile. So then we get to her message, and they're like, oh my God, that's right. That's my message.
It's funny as you're speaking right now. I think I told you, how I grew up in this international school
Mm-hmm.
and everybody was celebrated, all of our differences, and then I go to Orange County, California, and it's like, you don't wear the same shoes as us. You can't sit at the lunch table. And so
Right.
now my whole thing has been like inclusivity, being
Yes.
open to all kinds of paths and walks and what that would look like, and particularly in the church, because I think the us them, it really started with the Jews in the Bible, where it's like we're the
Yes.
best and nobody else is, and there was a certain amount where God was saying, you need to live by standards, but it was
Right.
to be an invitation for those other cultures to live by the standards God created.
Yes.
And the Jewish people kept just saying, this is only for us, rather than being that invitation. And so
Mhm.
I never really thought of, well, yeah, this childhood trauma of moving from a really inclusive, celebrating all walks of life place to a very, you need to fit in our box or you'll be rejected place,
Yes.
um, has
And you're
been
trying to solve it now.
right,
For the
right.
rest of your life, you'll be trying to make that solve. That's
Oh,
what,
I do.
and we,
I bring it everywhere I go. Or when I get into places like when I lived in Monaco, and that is a very inclusive community that is like that, then I'm able to kind of rest.
right.
But when I'm in places where that's not the case, I mean, America is probably, it's up there with our division
Not being the
in the
case. Right.
culture, of
Right.
all kinds of division. It doesn't even matter what
Right.
we're divided about.
Right.
And saying like, hey, we don't have to be divided. We can celebrate that we're different. It's
Yes.
a good thing.
And your
Wow, it's
solution
really
is, if it's in Christ, we can be different and the same in Christ. We all can be united,
yes,
right?
and one
So
mind.
this is your motor. This is
Mhm.
like your motor. Like this is like the motor mode, because you could have chose a lot of ways to take this message on. You could
Mhm.
have a million.
Yeah.
You could have had shoes as your main driving force, and you were making shoes. And the reason why you're doing these shoes because you're trying to get everybody to see that they need to be united and walk the same way,
Yeah.
and You could have done anything, right?
Uh-huh.
But you chose this,
Mhm.
right? But you still, it's the same message. And that's how I work with people. So I figure out what their thing is, and then I figure out what their expertise is, and I try to help them with their business to solve it. And it's so fulfilling then, right? So
Mm.
it's like passion driven, fulfilling. People can look at you in the eye and know you are telling them the truth from your experience. You're not making up something or looking at somebody else's business and making anything up. It is from your heart. And
Mm.
for women who are very heart centered, the way we do our business, and who are lead with our heart and our emotions, right? It speaks so well to us. That's why I like working with women, because I can know how they want to hear things and I know how they want to speak things to each other. So that's how I got to this women, even though beginning of my career was in corporate America,
Oh,
commercial real estate, mostly men. They speak
right.
completely different. Yeah.
Huh. Right.
Yeah.
Completely different ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
But that I think that also brings so much balance into what you do because especially, if you're going to have a woman going in to speak to corporate America, or, this is what language they're going to need to hear in order
Yes.
to receive your message. Like your
Yes.
message is what they need to hear, but if you say it the way you're usually saying it, they're just not going to receive.
They're
So
not going to receive that. Right.
right. And I've been working on that with my speaking agent. It's like your message is the same, yes. But when you take it to this different audience, you're going to need to say certain words that are familiar to them so that they can receive that same message that you brought over here, but said words that were familiar to
That's
them.
right. That's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. And so I know that you have so many avenues that you're helping women to really get their message out there. Tell me
Mm-hmm.
a little bit about these Women Who Boss Up books. I know that
Yeah.
you had one come out in September, one comes up in November, is that right? Or
Next one's in
December?
January.
Next one is in January. And then every 2 months after that, right?
That's right.
And so
Yes.
you're really getting women like literally on the stage too. So give me a
Yes.
little bit of a background. What does that project look like? If someone's watching right now and going, wait, what's this? I want to know how to become a woman who bosses up. How do they get involved and what's the whole process look like?
Yeah. So if they've never ever heard of this even concept, I would say, first of all, you might want to just come to our free summit. We have one that's coming up in about a week or two. And I will tell you more about that later. But the basic premise of the project is this. So let me tell you what my message is. This is, and everything I do, you'll see it in what I do. My message is I'm saying to you that your journey has the power to change people's life. This is what that's ultimately what I'm trying to solve for everyone. The reason why you went through that, the reason why your childhood sucked, the reason why the girls teased you in high school, the reason why that boyfriend wasn't a butt, all those things is your journey means something and it has the power to change people's life. So just keep your head up, right? So that's what I'm trying to say. Okay. So I've done it in many different ways. What started off when I realized that was my message, I was working with people one-on-one to write their book. I said, oh, of course, in a book. Book's great, perfect. That's what I can do. So I started helping them with a book because I wrote my first book, and that's when I realized it. Oh my gosh, this is okay. So one-on-one, one-on-one, one-on-one. And I was doing events and I was bringing people to speak on my local stages. Okay. So COVID happens. Okay. This year, beginning of this year. And I have many events scheduled this year, including an international retreat in Bali. And all of it had to be canceled. The only one I was able to do this year was in January 8th. And I just pivoted on a dime. Okay. Now, let me just tell you something about me being able to pivot on a dime this year. It was because I didn't pivot on a dime in 2008 and I lost my butt. That's a whole story. It was
Just about
bad,
all of us
bad,
did. Many people
bad.
did in 2000.
Woo, girl,
Yep.
painful. Yeah.
That one took
So,
a while. For me, that one took about 7 years to recover from.
yes, yes, that was like, what was a walking zombie trying to recover from that?
Uh-huh.
So if you didn't pivot on a dime, the reason why I tell you that story real quick is because if you didn't pivot on a dime during this time, keep your head up. It's all part of your story. It's okay.
Yeah.
You learn now. Now, next time something happens, you'll know that you need to pivot quick. Okay.
That's right.
So this year I saw this was happening. I pivoted like within seconds. And I thought, what else can I do that's similar, that's still the same message, that's still the same point? And then I did this collab book because I can work with all these women, but we can all do it the same, one book, and I can teach them all the stuff that I want to teach them in this project. So the project has 16 people in each book. They all get podcast interviews that I just put together for them. They all get a PR, like press release that's put out for them. We do an online show on YouTube, and we do this big summit at the end.
Wow.
They do, so it's a lot. of
Mm-hmm.
exposure for their business. A lot of social media, lots of stuff. So, oh my gosh, these ladies said yes during the pandemic in March of 2020. I thought this is going to work. And I started working on the second one and the third one and the fourth one and the fifth one.
Wow.
And now it's just insane, right? So I have like 5 books going on at one time and several summits coming up. And I'm really just using that to help people to, be able to not only to nail their story, use their story to get up there and share about their business, bring people to their pages so they can get more leads, so they can get more clients, so they can build their business, because we all can do it. I'm not going to take any money out of my pocket to teach you how to use your message
Mm-hmm.
to build your business. It's not.
Yeah.
It's going to benefit all of us if we all are like bossed up at home with our kids. We all know it's a lot of work to deal with kids and husbands and oh my
all in one
gosh,
house right now.
girl, too much. So I'm trying to help so that we all can like not be so stressed out.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what we're doing. So
Yeah, and I think you really hit it there on not be so stressed out and how we can, I think our culture really glorifies hustle, and I think hustle's good in a certain way, but we glorify it in this way that I'm too busy for any of my personal engagements. I'm too busy, and this kind of glorification of hustle is completely destructive and tearing apart our society.
yes.
I think there's that perseverance that the Bible calls us to, not to be lazy and just sleep all day, but go out and harvest. And we need to do our part. And then also step into, when we do our part and take our Sabbath rests when they come,
Yes.
we take our family time when it's there. God steps in and opens doors we couldn't have hustled 1,000 years to open, right?
Of course.
And I'm going to have someone else who's been in one of your books on the show in a few weeks, I think. And she was telling me how, not only are you getting them in the books, are you getting them on stage, well, before COVID on stages, but on virtual stages now, and, really honing that message, but you're teaching them through the whole process. It's like a full on get inside your business kind of coach. And so many of us have had to pivot our businesses to make sure they're completely online now, because we don't know when the world will open up and if it will ever open up the way that it was. Well, and it probably won't. And
it probably won't. Right.
Right. And so you're teaching these women more than just the individual skills of here's a book, here's a course, here's a podcast, but here's how to begin to get your mind to start having ideas flow like water. Here's how you begin to train yourself to pivot your business on a dime, because who knows what's coming next, in the next decade, there will be something else. And
yes, it will be.
You need to make sure that you're constantly aware and just engaging. I think it's so easy to think, oh, well, we'll get it going and then it will run itself, right?
That's a lot of times what we think. We just think we're going to kind of wing it, and it's okay to start, where you are and not really know everything. But there are some principles. The principles I'm teaching are just like principles of digital marketing, but I'm using, our message and our story so that when you pivot, like if you notice from my pivot wasn't like completely different business, or it wasn't. It was just a very slight little, and I'm still within my exact same message. That's the reason why I told you my message first, right? Because everything is the message, everything. So no matter what you do, we know. And the thing is, you are always running. Your message is always running you. But if you don't know it, then you'll feel like you're all over the place.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if you know your message is going that direction. But if you don't know your message, you might head the other direction.
That's right.
And keep getting pulled over here and not know why.
Right. That's
right.
And
that's actually, I talk about in my book, repentance just means to do a 180-degree turn, and sinning just means missing the mark. Yes. And so, if our mark's over here, we need to first of all know what it is. Yes. And if we're walking over here, there doesn't need to be guilt and shame with that. We just need to turn and go
Turn
to
and
where
go
our
the other way.
message
Right. That's literally it. That's literally it. There's no guilt and shame at all.
Yeah.
And
And that's the gospel right there. It's repenting from the things that aren't the
that's
mark we're called
literally
for.
it. That's right. That's literally it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I love because, all the women in your thing aren't all believers, but
Of
you're able to
course.
run it like a ministry because you're helping people to, you're missing the mark. Your message is over here and you've
Hmm.
been going over there. So we just need to pivot you over here. And
Yep.
once you're hitting your message and you're hitting your message,
That's
you're
right.
going to be on the right path, not stepping to
Yes.
the right or the left,
That's
just
right.
going on the path you were created for. You were designed for a purpose and put on this
Yes.
earth.
Yes.
And but oftentimes we need a guide to help us really
Yes, of
see
course.
that.
Of course. It's too difficult to see these things in and of yourself. It's because you're in it.
Uh-huh.
I don't care. You could be so smart and so self-aware, but it's difficult to see these things. I didn't make this stuff up. Like this is years of coaching. This is hundreds of thousands of dollars of
Uh-huh.
coaching. I'm telling you, I've honed it down to this little, a thing. It seems like, oh, this just a little book. No, this is so much coaching,
Oh, that's,
Oh my
that's what a
God.
book really is, right? It's like this giant funnel of all the experiences and books
Yeah,
and coaching and everything you've ever done.
that's
And it's
right.
like funnels into these tiny 60,000 words,
That's right.
It was funny because when I first started writing my book, my pastor goes, it's interesting because I have I can tell all the people you've read and the places you've been and the monasteries you've visited, but you don't repeat verbatim what any of them say. You've
Right.
distilled it into what is relevant. Because I'll read monks from like the 16th century. He's like, you
Mm-hmm.
distilled it into what's relevant right now, today for your
Right.
audience. And that's what you've done in your book. You've taken, like you said, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of coaching and all the books and all the personal development programs. And you've distilled that down into, okay, here's what I found really works for here and now, because we're in
Right.
a time post COVID. And so this isn't going to work. That's not going to work, at
Right.
least not for a while. So
Not for
here's
a
what
while.
helps.
That's right. Not for a while. I'm like, um, at the end of the day, so I'm also a champion for women too. And I mean this by women. First of all, I don't think women are designed for 9 to 5. This is my own personal opinion. Okay. I'm going to tell you why. We have a cyclical like rhythm to our bodies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because we are the wives and the mothers and just think about truly, does 9 to 5 really actually work for your child's school schedule? Does it really, I mean, really actually work to take them to the doctors and do what you need to do really in the day? You will probably say no. Okay. The reason why I know what I'm talking about is because when women have kids and husbands and they own a business, none of them work really 9 to 5. I have heard their schedules, and they usually it's something like till like 2, they stop to make dinner or help the kids with the homework, and then they get the kids to bed and they get back on the thing at 9 o'clock at night. That
Mm-hmm.
ain't 9 to 5, right? So, right? It doesn't work.
Yeah.
So because I feel like I know this, I have a 16-year-old as well, and I get it. So I want her to be able to take care of herself, one, which is
Mm-hmm.
extremely important because she can't take care of everybody, which she'll try to do, which
Yeah.
she does every single day. Try to take care of everybody except for herself. I know that because I got myself sick and ended up with health problems because I was doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Not spending enough time with her husband, which she should, right?
Right.
So
Well, if
I
you're
got to,
putting the kids to bed and then, getting back to work, when are you gonna?
that's right. That's right. So we got to figure. So my whole thing is to help her make this doable. Because if it all, I mean, all is said and done, I mean, she can do whatever she wants to, but right now, a man can't just work and she can't just stay home. It's just the way the
Right.
society is set up. It's not set up like that. but I'm really here for families and mothers. And
Hmm.
that's why I'm teaching this, because the stress that women are putting themselves under, trying to hold a job, and like I was doing, drive an hour and a half to 2 hours each way to work, living in LA,
Yep.
coming home stressed out to make dinner, that's not healthy, you know?
No, not at all.
hmm So that's the other main part for me. Is that's kind of like the underlying thing for me. I'm trying to help women to take care of themselves more, have a little more time for themselves. If you have a business that works, that you can
Yeah.
do in your sleep because it's part
Mm-hmm.
of who you are, then
Mm-hmm.
it's so much better for everyone, I think.
That's right. And you get out of that hustle just for the sake of hustle.
Yeah,
And you get in and you shine at what you're good at, what you're
that's right.
created for.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. I loved back when I was a personal trainer and Pilates instructor, I worked at an Equinox that was under Google.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about Google, at least back then, I don't know what they do now, but you had a certain amount of work. When you finished it, you finished it.
Yeah,
You could go home. If you were just a super genius and really good at it, you got it done in 2 hours,
you're
you could
out.
go home.
Right.
Of course you're gonna have your work checked, so it's gotta be good. But like,
Mm-hmm.
but the thing is, this factory worker schedule that we have all succumbed to doesn't work outside the factory. And thinking that we need to work certain hours, unless you need to physically be answering a phone or something like that. If you're in a business that requires your expertise, it requires your expertise, and then the other stuff, you either have outsourced or you have a team around you to help with that. But I think as just this day and age, we try to do everything ourselves. Like you
Yes.
said, be a wife and a mom and a business owner, and not only a business owner, how about a solopreneur that does it all
It
with no
all.
team?
Yeah, that's right.
And that's something I've had to be learning recently, is like, okay, I may know how to do all of these things, but I need to, hire an expert to do this part. And I hire mostly collaborative experts. So like, if
Mm-hmm.
I have idea, like people who are booking me for speaking engagements, like, oh,
Right.
I want this one, and I'll forward her, like, I came up with all these ones and I got some emails for here. Can you contact them? And
Right.
so I'm still involved in the process, but I'm not the only one. And plus, it doesn't look that good anyway if you're like, hi, can I come speak at your event? I'm better if your agent
Right.
contacts them.
That's right.
So I love that. And I know, so you have this big summit coming up on
Mm-hmm.
November 16th through the 20th.
Mm-hmm.
First of
And
all, like,
18.
we'll ask again at the end, but how does someone, if they're like, ooh, I love everything that you're talking about, how do I come be a part of that?
Yes. So just go to womenbossupsummit.com.
Women.
Free to sign up. Womenbossupsummit.com. Yeah. So womenbossupsummit.com is you can go in free. And if you want to get a VIP experience, that's available, but you don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
You can come to all 3 days, hear
Amazing.
hear all the speakers, and I guarantee you'll hear something that's going to inspire you, because it's not just me talking. And I'll be talking about message, just in case you wonder, like, I'll be talking about what I'm talking about now. I'll just be breaking it down a lot more. But all the other speakers going to be really just giving you what they do,
Mm-hmm.
right? And breaking it down. So you'll get a chance to hear, oh, wow. And she does that. And this is how she does it. Oh, wow. This person. And you'll get a lot of inspiration about what you can do, what other people are doing. They'll be talking about, the first day we'll be talking about business mostly, business tools. And oh my gosh, these women are really amazing. The second day, we talking mostly about health, or the health industry, people that are health providers. And there's a lot of women businesses that are in the health care, health and wellness industry, that
Yeah.
sector. So if you're in the health and wellness industry, or you want to be, that's a great day to listen to some of the ones. The third day is about this life, but more like mindset, inspiration. So a lot of life coaches will be speaking about
Mm-hmm.
different things that oh man, it's good. It's going to be great.
I love that. I love that. And there's so much we can learn. I always say, if you're up on stage and people learn a couple of things from you in that 20 minutes or the hour, they know that they're going to be able to learn a lot more from you in, a 6-week program or continuing to go. So I love, speakers who get up there, they teach you what they do, and you're going to learn a little bit on top of being inspired from every single person. And then of course you breaking down more on the messaging so tell us just a sneak peek for those who are watching here. What are some of the things you're going to be breaking down for everyone on how to really get their message across?
Yeah. So there's 5 steps. Everybody, I like 5. 5's good. 5 good's the framework. So my my overall talk, I used to do a 3-day seminar myself called Monetize Your Message. Okay. So basically how to find your message and then how to monetize it. So the first day, which I think is the most important, we're going to be talking about nailing it. How do I nail my message? I'll be giving you exactly what I do. I mean, exactly what I do when I work with somebody one-on-one. So if you decide you want to do it yourself or see if you can do it, by all means, I give you exactly what I do. Nail your message. The second part of the day, I give you a little snippet about who needs your message, because that's the next part. You got to know who your avatar is. So we'll talk about that. The coolest thing is that one of our speakers, she used to work for Procter & Gamble, and they spent billions of dollars on just that thing, avatar, billions.
Wow.
None of us spend billions of dollars on that ourselves. So I'll be talking about how important it is, but she'll be breaking it down even further. That's what she does.
One of the speakers will.
One of the speakers will. She's really good, really good. Another one of the speakers on that day, she's been doing what she's been doing for a while, but I worked with her to hone her message. What she's doing is so good. She's dealing with branding and image. And a lot of that's just coming from who you are, what's your message. So how to take that message and then show it on your website, show it on your photos. How should it look on your social media? Because your message, it flows through everything. So day one, amazing. Day 2 is all about leveraging your message and sharing your message. So I'll be talking about how the different ways to leverage your message. In our program, that's what we do. We leverage that message to death, right? But we leverage it in a book, right? We leverage that in that particular book that we're doing. And then we share podcasts, everywhere. Okay, so I'll be breaking that down. And then on the last day, when you're ready, when you see that you want to take it seriously and you're focused and you know exactly what you're doing, you want to up level with team. Okay. You want to up level with team when you're trying to get to 6 or 7 figures. So that's that last day, but that's also the day when there's going to be a lot of inspiration, because 90% of all of it that we're talking about is your mindset. So I can tell you exactly what to do to build your business. But if you don't believe it, you're not going to do it. If you don't trust in God that he's going to lead you the way you're supposed to go, you're not going to do it. If you don't have faith, you're not going to do it. It's all the same.
Absolutely. Right? Even, it's funny because I come from tons of faith and all these stories in my book, how I've, taken leaps and God's just opened doors. But, when it came down to mindset about one little thing, I had this world view, and I was talking about, funnels and programs like after the book, and I'm sure you've seen it just as much as I have in the industry, where people really abuse that. And it's just about, let me get $5 and then $50, $100, it's just about pulling more money out of people. And that's the only reason. And I was like, I'm never doing funnels or courses. I'm only putting out a book. That's all I'm doing. And, that was a mindset shift. That was a worldview I had from seeing the nasty underbelly of the sales side behind the curtain of some of those people who've used it for wrong. And my learning group in the Alt MBA said, well, but what about when someone finishes your book and they said, I love this, I want more, I want to learn more, I want to go deeper. Are you just going to leave them hanging and not provide that extra service that they want and need? And from a service angle, it was just a worldview shift, because I had a bad experience with it. I've seen some people use it for evil instead of for good. And forgot that I can use this tool was created for a reason, and we can use it for good, or we can use it just to pull money out of people. But
Right.
when you use it to truly serve, that was a mindset shift that I
Yes.
needed and couldn't get on my own. On my own, I just thought, nope, this people use that to rip people
Right.
off. I'm never doing that. So, you know, when you come to these, you get to, and you have chosen all really heart-centered women who are coming from a place of service, from a place of love, you know. And so coming in and having your worldviews challenged by, I mean, how many women are speaking at this event?
16.
16. So
And plus me.
different way of 17 women coming in and challenging your worldview from a heartfelt, servant-hearted place. You know, that's where you can start questioning, oh, you know, I thought this is impossible, but is it? Or I thought this was not a way to do business, but actually, if you do it this way, it can
Yes.
really serve people.
Yeah.
And we just
Because
can't
that's
do it
really
all.
all it is.
Mm-hmm.
It really all it is. I think business is service. That's what it is. That's what it
That's
really
right.
should be. You have a message, you have a talent. The person next to you does not have that talent. They have their talent.
Yeah.
But you have your talent and you get to serve them your talent and they get to serve you their talent. That's how it should be. And my job in this world is to help you to see your talent, to be able to hone it, to, you know, to rise it up to the place where you can deliver it easily, to help and serve other people, and just do that over and over and over again. You will be in your zone of genius. And whereas I say that I'm able to float ideas like water, that's not actually incredible. If you're in your zone of genius, they will flow like water. All these things will start snapping. All of a sudden, you're like, oh, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this, because that's what you were meant to do. That's what God gave you to do, right? And so it will be really easy for you. People are like, wow, how did you come up with that? I don't even know.
That's right. You know, you talk about like that kind of flow state. And one of the things I really like to do is go to monasteries and speak with the Benedictine monks and things. And one of the things that they talk about is the Holy Spirit inspiration. That's your breath, you know. And when we're in the Holy Spirit, every breath becomes inspiration. And so your great ideas flow like air. You know, it's just what surrounds you because you are breathing in inspiration at every breath. And, you know, when we really go back to that creation story of God takes this clay figure and breathes his very own breath into it to make this human, divine, mystical creature that co-creates with God because we are his breath. We are like this, his breath come to life. And when we can own that and when we can really step into that, that's where, you know, okay, you think, God, I'm going to create some heavens and an earth and some, you know, it just, we start creating because we are inspired by the creator.
That's right. We are in the image and likeness of our creator. And if he can create, we are creators also. And he gives you the thing. He gives you the thing, right?
Yeah.
We try to ignore it or we don't realize. I think it's more like not really trying to ignore it. I think it more is like we don't know. It's not like I was saying when I went to high school, went to college. It's not math or science or it's not like these little boxes, you know, where I have to do this or this or this or this. It's something like, you know, I'm here to teach about self-love, right? That's like so like random, you know. I'm here to teach togetherness, you know, like you are. Like I'm here to show you that we can all do this together, no matter what walks of life you're from. You know, we can all like serve one. We can all see eye to eye, no matter where we're coming from. That's really what you are probably on a mission for, something around that. And you get into that spot, but you didn't have that on your high school checklist. What do you want to be when you grow up?
You know, I was thinking about, you know, we look at like David and Joseph and things, you know, the people of the Bible that God has highlighted. And I'm sure, you know, David might have been like, be a lot easier just to stay a shepherd forever, like that. I was
Right.
in shepherd classes that I was taught how to do that growing up. um
Right.
Wait, you mean I'm going to slay a giant, lead an army, and become a king? And
Right.
how do I do?
What
I'm
class
just
was that?
a shepherd. And it's a lot harder sometimes to step into our purpose than it is to do the things that we can just anyone can do. We're all taught how to maybe answer a phone or like to kind of work for someone else because we could and there's nothing wrong with working for someone else. And I
Of
think
course.
one of the things that I had the amazing Rabbi Daniel Lapin on my show, and in his books he talks about regardless of what job we are in, we are the owner of our job and our boss is our client, and his clients are our clients because that boss is our client. And
Yes.
so we can all learn first in our jobs, because you do in this society, whether we're male or female or supposed to be a helpmate or not, we all
Right.
have to provide these days. And so
That's right.
you gotta do something. So if you start in your job, you learn to boss up in that job because you become the owner of that job, even if
Yes.
you're working for someone else. And so I think of like Joseph, again, I'm sure had God given him the choice of the path he was going to take to get to second in command of Pharaoh, he might have said, I'll tend sheep. I'm good.
Right. So much easier, right?
So much easier. But this path of, Potiphar's house imprisoned,
Right.
interpret the dreams, stay in prison. They're going to forget about you for a few
That
more
was
years.
not an easy way to go. Like if you think
Right.
about that journey,
Uh-huh.
that's craziness.
But the whole time
Mm-hmm.
he was serving in
Yeah,
all he was called to. He was
that's right.
always organizing and making things run and function better, whether he was in Potiphar's house or the prison.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he interpreted Pharaoh's dream and they needed someone to organize things and have it run well enough to feed people through a huge famine, he was the guy for the job. And he had been proving himself time and time and time
He was
again.
uniquely qualified.
He was exactly
Uniquely
uniquely
qualified.
qualified. And
Yes.
he never went, oh, I'm a slave, I'm just going to do what I was told. He bossed up every time
Yeah.
and said, you know what, I'm uniquely qualified and I will do it as a slave in Potiphar's house. I will do it as a prisoner in the jail. I will do it second in command to Pharaoh, but I will do the thing I'm uniquely qualified for. And that's
Yes.
something. So say someone, do you do individual coaching as well, or is it all in this group? Okay. So if someone were out there going, you know what, I feel like I'm uniquely qualified, I just don't know what for. I know I feel the calling, but I can't identify it. What would be that process of getting in touch with you, and what kind of individual one-on-one things do you do to work with people?
Yeah. So there's a couple ways you can do it. Okay. You can start off by going to my website and you can download a free message. What's it called? Um, Message blueprint. Okay. So you can go right to my front page and download that for free. That's number one. Number two, you say, you know what? I just want you to help me figure out what I want to do. I just want to discover, is there something there? Let's see if you can help me. If you look down just a little bit lower on my website, and my website is tamrluck.com, TAMRLUC.com. It'll say discover what is available or something like that. So just have a coffee chat, free, completely free. Click on that. The second thing you can do, you say, you know what? No, I kind of want you to do it. I already know you're going to help me. So right there is step two. You can just go ahead and schedule a time for me to go on one-on-one with you, and we can just go from there. I think the main thing for me is for us to just get to know each other. Let's just chat.
Mm-hmm.
Let me find out what your concerns are, what you're trying to do, what you see for yourself. I believe that your message, okay, your core message will change everything. Everything. If you're in business now and if you think you know your message, but you're not 100% sure, set up a time for me. Just chat. Okay. Because If I help you with your message, I'm telling you, people have told me you have changed my whole thing. Now I really see what I'm doing, really doing. So yeah, I think it changes everything. For me, it changed everything. 17 years I was side hustling. 17 years. I was not successful for 17 years.
Wow.
And not until I nailed my message was when when everything changed.
So what does someone do who's out there who thinks they've known their message and they're watching today and they go, oh no, what if I haven't? And I've already, put this out in the world that this is who I am and this is my message and this is what I'm doing. How does do they quickly or slowly pivot off of, say I wanted to stop being the soul nutritionist today and go be the something else, right? Like how does someone begin to pivot from that?
Well, what's funny is that so you're probably kind of doing your message anyway without really knowing it, because you choose what you choose because that's who you are. You didn't choose to be a forklift driver, right? Like something like random, like I don't want to be a forklift driver anymore. Or it's like something way, way off.
Right.
It's not like that. It's usually somewhere pretty close. Pretty close. You just haven't, that's why I call it nail your message.
Nailed it, right. And you're going to talk about that at the summit on the 16th through the 20th.
Right. Because you're probably dancing around your message. It's close, real close. So let's say you're soul nutrition and you find out your message is a little different. We've nailed it now.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to be
I wrote
too
down
far
what you
off.
said either. See eye to eye no matter where or who you are.
Yeah. Right. But all of a sudden now you can still use some of that stuff because it's who you are, really.
Yeah. Right. And so what you would do is see how those align, right? Yeah. And how to put that into one succinct message.
That's right. That's right. What you're doing already, your expertise, remember I told you, your message can be one thing, unity, and you could do sales. You can do shoe sales.
Oh, right.
You could do yoga. You could be a yoga person. You could be a corporate attorney. You could be on the same message. But you chose your expertise as this thing and you using your message to do it through that thing. So it doesn't matter what you do.
Yeah, now that you say that, sometimes I joke because, I went to the international school and I was a pageant girl growing up. And I joke, but it's true that everything I do is really for world peace.
That's right. And that's what That's what you've been doing. This is right. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Because world peace really starts in our hearts, right? Just
that's
like
right.
Mahatma Gandhi is quoted saying is that, we don't know if he said it for sure, but be the change you wish to see in the world. So we each individually have to be the change. That's the only way the world's going to get peaceful is if each and every one of us get peaceful. So, I joke that tongue in cheek, oh yeah, I'm doing world peace, but really peace in individual hearts is how we create world peace. It's just starts with what. Do you remember there was this commercial in the 90s for voting? And I know it was in California. If you were here, you grew up here too, right? California.
Yes. I grew up in Ohio. Actually.
Oh, you grew up in Ohio. Okay, so I don't know if they had this commercial, but it was this commercial and a person would step onto the screen and they'd say, I'm only one person. What difference can I make? And a second would step on and I'm only one. And suddenly you had like thousands of people on the screen saying, I'm only one person. What difference can I make?
Right.
And that's really what you do with people's messages is you help them to touch one person and then two people, and then you get them on big stages with audiences and books and in front of more people. And suddenly this one person has turned into thousands of people.
Yes, that's right.
And it makes a huge difference for the whole
difference.
planet.
Yeah.
So
there was a song when I was little, I'm older than you. So when I was little, there's a song, I like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. It's a song that goes on. I like to fly the world. They turned it into a Coke commercial later, but this song came out in the 60s or something. Anyway, I loved that song. Oh my gosh. I loved that song. So I just hum that song and sing that song always. There was another song that was similar kind of a song where it was like had that kind of a message that I remember loving that song as a kid. And as I grown up, I thought, that's kind of even part of what I'm trying to get people to have, have that, we can work together. We can do this together.
We
Yeah.
can.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I do think the world is awakening, although the news may show all of the
I
division,
know.
that for some reason still sells.
It does.
Or
So,
you know what? I wonder though how much it sells anymore. I almost wonder if that's an old paradigm that has just sold for so long that it's still being used. Because there's so many people I know who won't watch that stuff anymore. There's so many people that have turned it off, and I do feel like people are awakening to, we can work together. We can put aside our old stories and create new ones.
We can.
Mm-hmm.
We absolutely can.
Yeah, and I love that you're doing that, and you're helping people to just find the parts that are working and create new stories for the parts that weren't, and stop repeating those patterns of side hustle forever.
Oh my goodness. I'm telling you, I can't. I have been down that road,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I appreciate being able to side hustle and so many years being able to side hustle. But yeah, it's painful. It's tiring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really excited that you have found peaceful prosperity, and you're leading so many others into a peaceful prosperity, that we can have this peaceful, prosperous world together. So again, just repeat for us, we've got on the 16th.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that I did too, as a matter of fact.
What were you saying right then?
I was going to say, I'm so glad too, because, I finally figured out what I really wanted to do, so that's, and because it took so long, I know how it is for someone else. And I just want to help people to get to where I am at that place, very peaceful place.
Absolutely. Right. And you're doing all that God's called you to do and prospering in it. And he's opening the doors, and you're helping other people find those open doors for themselves. So just for a reminder for the audience who has been watching this and just loving everything that you said, because I know I'm like, I'm going to go to this too. I've got to block out my calendar now. I'm on like this podcast tour for the book, but I'm going to definitely carve out some time because I want to get on and see this messaging as well. So that's the 16th through the 20th of November.
I go 16th through the 18th.
Through the 18th. 16th through the
18th, yeah.
Of November. So 16, 17,
3 days.
3 full days.
Mm-hmm.
3 full days of incredible content. You can get on for free, or you can do the VIP experience. Tell us that website one more time.
It's womenbossupsummit.com.
womenbossupsummit.com. So make sure to get on there, register, get your tickets now, whether that's the free or the VIP. And then also make sure to go on it's tamrluck.com. Is that right?
TAMRLUC.com.
Right. Make sure to get on there. Check out, you've got the free download for, I wrote it down because I want to go on and get
core message blueprint. Yeah, core message blueprint.
So I'm always honing my message, making sure that we're getting the word out to who needs to hear it. So go on for that free message blueprint. There's the coffee, and then also you could just schedule a full one-on-one. And so there's so many ways to interact with Tam. She's so amazing. I really encourage you, check out those websites, check out everything she's doing, and especially make sure you come to the summit. It's just in a couple days. And you can come for free if you'd like, or VIP. So thank you so much, Tam, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Reina. It's been really fun.
And thank you all for watching. We appreciate seeing you come and your viewership every week. And until I see you again, may the Lord bless and keep you, cause his face to shine upon you, and nourish your soul.